So, this may shock you, it may trigger you, what I'm about to say, but it's my belief, and, well, First Amendment. Religion is evil, and if you teach religion to a child, that is child abuse, and you are grooming them. Now, if that's offensive to you, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you're just a fucking idiot. But, again, what is the largest institution and organization of child molestation in the world? The Catholic Church. So if you bring your child to church, you are putting them more in danger than if you give your child a pride flag. It's just a matter of fact. It is a fact. And as we know, facts don't care about your feelings. So again, Christianity as a whole is just a giant child grooming operation. There is no God, and if there is a God, which I don't believe, but I'm open to the idea, I am not open to the idea of a Jesus or a Holy Ghost. If there's a creator of any kind, I wouldn't refer to them as God. God institutes a hierarchical mode of thinking, which I don't believe in. But if there is a creator, okay, I'm open to that idea. But the idea that Christianity is the religion that wins here, I'm sorry, you're a fucking moron. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit if you're a self-proclaimed socialist and you still believe in fairy tales. If you believe in Jesus Christ, you are a fucking idiot. And if you have a kid, you are grooming that kid to be susceptible to child molestation if you bring them around Christians. Christians are disgusting fucking freaks when it comes to their congregations. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. So with that getting stated, that's my bias out of the way. Let's cover the following news story. Oklahoma School Board approves nation's first religious charter school. So just to be clear, this is against the law. This is not legal. Again, this is illegal, right? The Constitution of the United States clearly says that you cannot spend public tax dollars on religious institutions. They are breaking the law here. And again, why are they breaking the law? Because they want to groom children and hand them over to molesting clergymen. That's why. The only possible reason why you would indoctrinate your child into believing in Santa Claus is if you want to set them up to be molested by someone in the church. That's it. Because if you want to come up with another reason why you're teaching your children that the Easter Bunny is a real thing and that Santa Claus is going to come down the chimney any minute now, and then tell them for 50 years, you know, you got to believe in Santa, you got to believe in Santa. Again, what is the only effect on children that it does? One, it destroys their ability to think properly. You could even say it's a form of abuse, gaslighting, right? I figured out that God wasn't real when I was like 9 or 10, 11 years old. I don't really remember exactly what age. And when you tell me that God is real when it's a matter of fact that it's not, I'm sorry, that's gaslighting. And when you gaslight a child, my opinion, that's child abuse, right? And if you're bringing a child to church, my opinion, that's grooming them and setting them up to be molested or raped by someone in the church. That is a fact. I'm sorry if it upsets you, but it is a fact. Churches are just, one, they are child molestation rackets. That is their primary purpose. And their secondary purpose is tax avoidance and money laundering. That is the entire point of Christianity all across the world. That's it. Those are the only two things that are actually relevant to the conversation. It's a mafia of a bunch of gangsters that love raping children, and they love stealing money from the government. That's it, okay? So again, with all that being said, again, it's also illegal to have a religious school. This is against the United States Constitution, but of course the right doesn't give a fuck about the Constitution. An Oklahoma school board voted Monday to approve a bid to open the nation's first religious charter school, sparking backlash and questions about the constitutionality of the move to use taxpayer dollars to fund a religious school. That's another thing that I want to say to you. Again, the law does not exist. There is no such thing as a constitution or law. There's no such thing as judges, lawyers. It's all made up. These are people playing pretend. I need you to understand that. Now, again, enough people play pretend and they can bully you into going to jail, going into handcuffs, putting a gun to your head and forcing you to a courtroom. But as a matter of principle, at the end of the day, they're all playing pretend. There is no law. The law doesn't matter. If there is a law that says you are not allowed to spend public tax dollars on religious schools, and then they do it anyway, well, I guess the law didn't stop them, right? So, again, the law is, in the best case scenario, a suggestion, but in the worst case scenario, non-existent. That's why you see the crooks on Wall Street get away with thousands and thousands of crimes, and then, your brother-in-law got arrested for having an ounce of weed in their glove box or whatever, right? So, again, that's why we live in this scenario. Oklahoma statewide virtual charter board, school board. Why is it a virtual charter? Are they afraid of in-person meeting? I don't know, man. It seems a little weird to me. Voted 3-2 to approve a plan to create St. Isidore of Seville Catholic Virtual School. Again, the only point of a Christian school is, one, child molestation racket. They want to get up and line up a bunch of kids to rape. That's it. That's the only reason why you would ever have a religious Christian school. That's it. And the other reason is, of course, stealing money from the government, which, again, now, just to be clear, I don't necessarily mind when you steal money from the government. The part that really upsets me, though, is when you're a bunch of child rapists that steal money from the government. If you're, somebody who's been discriminated against by the government and you find a loophole to pay less taxes, I'm all on board with that one, okay? It's all good. But if you're a fucking billionaire, if you're an oligarch, if you're a fucking child rapist, if you're a fucking priest, whatever. Oh, sorry, those are the same thing. Those are synonyms. You should be paying fucking taxes, okay? That's just a matter of principle, in my humble opinion. Quote, "We are elated that the board agreed with our argument and application for the nation's first religious charter school." Brett Farley, the executive director at the Catholic Conference of Oklahoma, said after the decision, "Parents continue to demand more options for their kids, and we are committed to help provide them." Again, parents are demanding that their children be abused and possibly molested instead of learning that gay people exist and that slavery happened. Because that's what the backlash is. That's why this is happening. That's why there are religious schools popping up all over the place. We saw a case in New Hampshire where there was a religious school that was trying to get public tax dollars, right? And that got stuck up in the courts for a while, right? That is why. They don't want kids to learn that black people used to be enslaved. That's uncomfortable. And they also don't want kids to know that gay people are alive and exist. That's pretty much it. And so they would put their kids in danger of being raped and molested by a bunch of evil, disgusting Santa believers instead of having their kids learn that slavery happened. So again, in my opinion, if you tell your child that God is real, that is child abuse. I don't know what to tell you. That's child abuse. If you are telling your kid that Jesus is a real person, you are gaslighting them to the point where they are ill-equipped to participate in reality, okay? It's just, that's the way that the world works. I'm sorry if that actually, I'm not sorry if that offends you. I'm just trying to be a little nice. If that does offend you, I suggest really looking into your life. Again, I have a no fucks given attitude when it comes to religious people. I don't even care what the religion is. Judaism, look at what's going on in Israel. I mean, they're using Judaism to commit a fucking ethnic cleansing. We got Islam. Look at what's going on in Afghanistan. They're using Islam to enslave women. Look at what's going on in Saudi Arabia, for example, right? So all kinds of religions are doing all kinds of fucked up shit. But in the United States, Christianity is the dominant child molestation and rape racket, and that's why I focus on Christianity. But again, let's keep going. Parents continue to demand blah, blah, blah. The journey for this Catholic school is far from over, as many disagree with the idea of a charter school which receives taxpayer dollars along with private donations run by a religious organization. The idea that a private school even gets public dollars as well is another thing. This is like a double dip of fucked up bullshit. So not only are they stealing money from the government to put your kids in an abusive child molestation racket, but they're also taking money from a bunch of billionaires to do so and to craft the curricula. So I don't know, man. A little fucked up if you ask me. It's hard to think of a clearer violation of the religious freedom of Oklahoma taxpayers and public school families than the state establishing the nation's first religious public charter school. The group said in a statement, the group is Americans United for Separation of Church and State. calling the decision a sea change for American democracy. Well, I just want to be very clear. We don't have democracy. We never have. And whatever, little democracy we had in this country is long gone. Okay, so you can make an argument, it's like, man, it's like in the just 2010 was the peak of democracy and whatever. But either way, we are not at the peak. We are losing whatever little possible democratic, things going on in our country that we even had in the first place. So, again, the Voting Rights Act, right? It's all gone. It's a matter of fact here. Supporters of the school argue charter school laws are different in each state, and while some states a religious charter school may be impermissible, it is allowed under Oklahoma law. Again, Oklahoma loves child molestation, so that's why they do that. Some also see Monday's approval as a win for religious freedom. Religious freedom to rape your children and abuse them and gaslight them so that they are ill-equipped to participate in the real world. Wow, yeah, I love religious freedom. That's the thing, you ever see these religious freedom guys, but as soon as you start talking about, I know, the flying spaghetti monster, all of a sudden religious freedom is thrown out the window. You don't really believe in the flying spaghetti monster, do you? You're just making a joke. I could say the same thing about Jesus fucking Christ and watching you jerk off, and then you have to go confess that, oh, my father, I jerked off last night, and I jerked off to trans people. Oh my God, right? So, again, I don't know. You think, religious freedom? Okay, we can play that game. And while school choice is popular among conservatives, even top officials in Oklahoma are split on the decision. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt applauded the decision. Wow. Big shock. This is a win for religious liberty. I love that shit, man. Look, it's liberty, right? Liberty is sending your kid to a child molestation ring. That's liberty. But what's not liberty is allowing gay people to exist. By the way, Oklahoma banned abortion. That's not liberty, right? The ability, if you are pregnant, to go to a doctor, sorry, can't do it. If you are trans and you want to go to a doctor, can't do it. Sorry, liberty doesn't cover you. If you want to send your kid to a child molestation ring, it's all good, bro. Liberty. It's just a bunch of garbage. So you can read more of this if you want. You can look into it if you'd like. I mean, I'm not going to pretty much said my piece on this one. But again, it's just like we live in La La Land. And again, generations of people being gaslit and abused by their parents into believing that God is real. Because in a lot of instances, if you acknowledge reality, if you acknowledge that the emperor does indeed have no clothes, then what happens? You get abused, you get put down, you get shunned from society. That is where we are with religion, okay? People genuinely are afraid to speak the truth about Christianity and these other religions in other countries where they're more dominant. And as a result, we live in an emperor has no clothes type situation where everyone is pretending, yes, God is real, Jesus is real, yes, he's watching you jerk off, the angels are saving you and they're guarding you and all this stuff. And yeah, I know there's a pandemic, thousands of people a year are dying from gun violence and, climate change, nuclear apocalypse is imminent, but God is real and he's helping us. And, the hurricanes that killed thousands of people over the last couple of years, but don't worry, it's God's plan or whatever the fuck. I mean, seriously, I'm sorry. Again, and I know people might roll their eyes at this, but I'm sorry that you feel that way. I truly feel sorry for you. But anyone that believes in any of this shit, I just can't take them seriously. They're just a fucking idiot as far as I'm concerned. Seriously. If you believe in Jesus, you are literally the dumbest motherfucker I've ever met. No wonder Americans are this fucking stupid. They literally believe that a fucking magical ghost is watching their every move and guarding them from, guarding them, right? Not everyone else dying in the hurricanes, the tornadoes, the fucking mass shootings, the fucking wars, the bombs being dropped, all this. They're not guarding them, but they're guarding you and little Timmy, right? Because, hey, why not? But anyway, there you go. So, first in the nation, religious, publicly funded school